Welcome back to a brand new video. Now today, I'm going to say to you right now, if you can complete these 3 exercises, guaranteed you're going to swing your golf club better, you're going to move better, right Nat?
Yeah, absolutely. These are 3 sort of basic tests we've taken from the full TPI screening, but 3 really key moves that we see physically in the golf swing that if you can do, you definitely will improve your golf.
And just to give people a bit of a background on the TPI screen, that's basically how you give golfers a fitness handicap.
Yeah, we give them an assessment, if you like, of how well they can move as a golfer. And obviously that test is quantifiable. Typically, the lower the score, like a regular handicap, the better you've done. So we've taken these 3 tests as being sort of 3 key moves for the body from that. So you can kind of give yourself a little mini golf fitness MOT.
Okay, now, first one, what was it?
First one, shoulder 90-90 test. So this is a real common one. We've had a lot of questions about this. People asking about these chicken wing positions and dodgy backswings, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a look at shoulder mobility. So you're going to be the student, Alex.
Here we go. I already know this one, and this is one that I've struggled with because I, in the past, have always been a little bit this way, which for most people, when you fail this test, and I'm right in saying, we'll show you in a second, is we see a little bit of this.
Exactly.
But also on the way through, we'd see a little bit this way.
And this is one I struggle with a little bit myself as well. And I think that's really key with a lot of these tests is there are tests I can't pass. You know, I do this day in, day out, and I still can't pass them. And that's physically how I'm made. So it's not, you know, don't be disheartened if you can't do some of these.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why you can't improve them. You might not get them perfect, but we can definitely make them better.
Okay, talk me through it.
So first one, we're going to get you to stand tall. You're going to make 90 degrees off this right arm. So you can do this test both at the same time, but if I'm coaching someone, I like to do it individually and then I can compare left and right separately. All I'm going to get you to do is if you start down, Alex, you've kind of got somewhere to go.
That was a struggle just getting
Something just clicked, I think. All I want you to do is wind back as far as you can, stop when you can't go any further. So nice and smooth. And okay, that looks pretty good to me, even from being on this side. What we're looking for, if you go to end range again, is I'm looking at the point of your elbow. Did it get past the angle of your spine? So when we're stood tall, the angle of the spine is vertical. And a nice measure for people to look at is typically the seam of a t-shirt or a jumper. You'll have this crease where it's stitched together. Can you get the elbow past that line? For me, looking at that, yes, you can.
And when I'm doing this elbow stay in the same point? It's not like moving up, it's not moving down.
Exactly, it needs to just be floating midair, not moving, because the movement is actually happening up here. And one of the cheats we see a lot is people rotate open like this, or they arch their back and they really wind themselves into it.
That's the one that
Yeah.
I know my left is a lot worse than my right.
Yeah.
So if I did it here, I give it a bit of this to complete the motion.
Your body will always try and find a way. So it'll go, I can't quite get that. Go on, yes, I'm there. And that's not quite the movement we're looking for.
Okay.
So that's step 1.
Okay.
Step 2, we'd ask you to do it in golf posture, because this is the key thing. This is the position we stand in.
So what, just like get into like a 7-9?
No, just come back to the same angle we did just now. So that 90 position in posture. Bend yourself over as if you set up to roughly 5-iron, something like that. And I'd ask you to make the same movement.
This is a lot harder.
Exactly. So the reason for it being harder is the fact that you're bent over, so there's more gravitational pull on you, more demand on the joint to pull this elbow backwards. So if I get you to stop at end range again and hold it there for me, we're looking for the same measure. We want to know, can this elbow get past the angle of your spine? And it's about level, I'm going to say, Alex, without me coming round the other side.
That is a real
I can see in your face this is harder.
Yeah.
So they're the giveaways for, you know, if you're testing yourself and you're in the mirror and we're this way and you're going, oh, God, I'm really cranking that back to get it there. You know straight away it's not comfortable. Yeah. So they're the measures that we're looking for on this one initially.
And that would be repeat just on our left arm.
Exactly the same on the left. 1 stood tall, 1 in posture.
And do you find like I basically passed the first bit and then didn't quite pass the second?
Yeah.
Is that a common thing?
Massively. So a lot of the time we get people go, yeah, this is really easy. And then we stand them in posture and they're halfway, or they get some sort of compensatory movement to go with it. And that's where we see effectively the changes in technique happening, because we're bent over as golfers, aren't we? We don't play up here. So I'm asking you to put more demand on your body in this position, but create the same angle. And that's where it gets harder.
Okay, let's now pause here and move into exercise number 2.
So test number 2, Alex.
Okay.
We're going to have a little look. So we're going to go to the lower body this time. And this is called the toe touch test. So it does exactly what it says on the tin. Can you touch your toes or not? Okay. So what I'm going to get you to do is set up feet close together,
How
roughly
close? Touching?
Yeah, touching I think is a good guideline for most people.
Like this?
Like that, perfect. Hands touching as well, so you can just lay them on top of each other. Make sure we start totally up tall. And all I want you to do is fold at the belt line and try and touch your toes without bending your knees.
So just to clarify, that's not going like hunching.
Exactly.
It's just tilting forward, like as you getting into posture in the golf swing.
That's what we're aiming for, but I think it's always nice just to do it first time round and just see what you do. Another crack there, just in case you didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's literally as far as.
So we're not too far off at all, okay? So the ideal measure is to touch the actual toes. So it's a simple yes or no with this one.
Yeah.
We can't give you a middle ground, you can't touch, it's as simple as that. But as you quite rightly said, what we see a lot of people do is they change the position of the spine to try and get there. So we get people that kind of shunt their butt back like this, or we get people that really round to try and get those extra sort of couple of inches down at the bottom.
So linking this to the golf swing, if you were to fail that one, is that linking to a lot of people haven't got a lot of flexibility in the hamstring, so essentially stand up a little bit?
Yeah, this one actually correlates a lot to the pelvic positions, so it translates a lot into posture. And those kind of athletic positions we see more in the downswing, where the transition starts to happen, our weight changes, and as a result we get a lot of this early extension. But what we're looking for here is for people to sort of bend, you know, and get to these positions here.
Why did that look so easy?
I've got about 15 layers on as well. What we're looking for is for the pelvis to be able to sit backwards here into this sort of tilted position where we would set up to the ball here, nice and strong and athletic. And what we see is if people typically don't pass this test, we see people with this like tucked under pelvis position, so the belt came close to the chin, which we've mentioned before about that compression of the spine. As a result, they end up becoming quite kneesy at setup and stood a lot taller. And we need this position here to create power, particularly in the downswing.
Okay, now exercise 3, before we get into it, a lot of people, over the top, horrible moves like that we all hate, and if we're honest, we're always trying to get them out of our game.
Yeah.
This is a good test for this, right?
Absolutely, this is probably your number one test that links, for me personally, a bit more down to the actual golf swing technique. So we're going to look at separation, upper body and lower body. So if we start with lower body, Alex,
Okay.
I'm going to get you to face the camera, it's much easier to see. All I want you to do is set up as if you were setting up to 5 or 6 iron, place your hands across your chest, and I want you to rotate your left hip and your right hip, whichever way you want to go first.
Okay, so I'm leaving my shoulders here, right?
Yeah, without moving the upper body. So if you imagine your belt, your bobble and your hat stay still, but you can rotate anything down below, which looks really good to me. So we've got
takes a lot of
minimal movement
Yeah.
on the upper body. It does take a lot of concentration. Yeah, it's like that thing in school, you know, you had to like pat your head, rub your stomach, whatever it was. One of those. That's it.
Okay.
Nice. And then I'll get you to stand up tall, just relax a sec, place yourself back in that same posture. We're going to do the opposite. I want you to rotate the trunk, keep the lower body still. I think what's nice about this as well, and important to point out, is this is not a quantity of rotation movement, it's a quality of rotation movement. So I don't need to see you get all the way across here and all the way across there.
Yeah.
I want to know how well do you do it, how stable is the other part of the body while you're turning.
Awesome. So, I mean, I find that not easy, I have to concentrate, but it's something that I've worked hard on with you.
Yeah.
And would you say like just doing that, you would improve that aspect of what you're doing there?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a skill in itself. So what we want to see is that if you can practice that, and particularly in the mirror, I think it's a really good one. This is an easy one for at home.
Stand on.
In the mirror, watch yourself and just practice the skill of that movement. It's like anything, you know, once you do it a few times, it does start to get a bit easier. And plus, you know, keeping something stable while something's moving is a very difficult skill for your body and your brain to work out. So it does need some reps.
Okay, so I was going to bring this to life, Nat. So if you just address that golf club, even with those gloves on.
With mittens and hand warmers on, I will attempt to hold the club.
What we're saying here is if you struggle to separate either way or both ways, and I'd say you probably struggle with one if you struggle with both.
Yeah.
Okay, so swing to top for me, we start to see a lack of separation. So this is from a golf coach's point of view.
Yep.
We sort of see the line of your hips and the line of your shoulders move together,
So
which
we're
definitely
getting
shunts this club out this way.
These movements, as opposed to me sort of being able to pull that away
Exactly.
and then drop myself into position.
And you know what I've seen quite a lot as well is a lot of golfers, because they do this and can't separate, they actually start to stand up to redirect this club.
Yeah.
So for us, we want you to have a go at those 3 exercises. If you fail them, don't worry. Like Nat said, it's not the end of the world, but it's going to help you become a better golfer if you do complete them and actually use them as a test, but as a bit of an exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can use this in its whole as a bit of a simple test, but break all 3 down and use them a bit of practice and a bit of exercise at home, for sure.
Awesome. And don't forget, remember, we got a week free and off scratch, so head over, the link is down below. Thanks so much for watching.